My first day at work in the US was a complete culture shock. I got there 15 minutes early, just like I was taught back home in Southeast Asia. Being early shows respect, and being quiet shows you're serious about your work. I sat at my desk, waiting, while my American colleagues strolled in right on time, some even a few minutes late, coffee in hand, laughing and talking loudly. They were so relaxed, and honestly, I was worried for them. Then my manager walked by. I instinctively stood up a bit and nodded respectfully. He just smiled and said, "Hey, what's up?" I completely froze. Back home, when a manager speaks, you just listen. But here, he was waiting for a real casual answer. I managed to say, "I am fine, thank you," way too formally. He gave me this kind look, like he was trying not to laugh, but in a nice way. Meetings were the toughest part. In my culture, you never speak unless you're invited to, and you choose your words very carefully. In my first US meeting, people were interrupting each other, not angrily but with so much energy. Ideas were just flying around. Junior employees were openly disagreeing with senior managers, and nobody seemed to mind. I just sat there, my notebook full of ideas I was too scared to share because they weren't perfect. But then something amazing happened. After the meeting, a colleague came over to my desk. He said, "You were really quiet in there. What do you think?" I was stunned. He actually wanted to hear my opinion. That simple question was a culture shock in itself. Lunch was another surprise. In Southeast Asia, workplace hierarchy follows you to the lunch table. Here, it was like all job titles disappeared. People talked about their weekend plans, their hobbies, even their mental health. They'd complain about their boss right there at the table. I kept waiting for that invisible line I wasn't supposed to cross, but it never appeared. Even the emails confused me. They were so short and direct. No friendly greetings, just, "Can you do this by Friday?" At first, I thought it was rude, but I soon realized it wasn't disrespect. It was about being efficient. The respect was in trusting you to get the job done, not in fancy words. Over time, I learned to speak up, even when my ideas weren't fully polished. I learned that in the US, being quiet can be mistaken for not being interested. Confidence isn't seen as arrogance. It's expected. But I also realized that my own cultural background, listening carefully, thinking before I speak, had its own strengths. The biggest culture shock wasn't just that Americans were loud or informal. It was the assumption that everyone's voice was equal, that everyone deserved to be heard. Adjusting meant learning when to adapt my style and when to hold on to the quiet strengths I brought with me. 3 months later, I still show up early, and I still listen carefully. But now, when my manager asks, "What's up?" I have an answer ready. It's been a journey, and I'm still learning every day. Thanks for listening to my story, and if you've had similar experiences, I'd love to read about them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories.